Yeah.
Hi, Chingwell.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Deep Breath Pilates Couch Chats. This is our first couch chat, and I'm super excited to be in conversation with Chingwell, who is a collaborator, a friend, an all-around amazing person. And we've had many conversations about self-care, about the development of the studio. She's been helping me vision and dream the next phase of the studio. And so we're just going to have a conversation and see what comes up.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me here. It's really an honor and a privilege to have this opportunity to be in conversation. Yeah. And I'm glad it's the first. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, no, this is the first one. So I'm super excited. And I want to just maybe start with a question for you, and then feel free to ask me any questions. But I'm just wondering how you think about self-care in these times with everything that's going on, and what does it look like to you? Why is it important? Anything that comes up around that.
What a great question, especially for the times that we are in. Yeah. When we get to really think about self-care, to me, I see self-care as a lifeline right now. It is truly a lifeline. In the times where it's really the times of collapse, where the systems that we depended on, where everything feels kind of like it's just going under us, and there's deep uncertainties. And it's a moment that it's calling us to come back home in this body. And to be able to come back home in this body, we have to give it the opportunity to rest. We have to care for it. So when we talk about self-care, how does it look like? For me, I think first and foremost, I know, like many of us being women, sometimes holding the space, home, family, we do quite a bit. And sometimes that might be or look just like getting some sleep. Some nourishment, hydration. And sometimes letting the body stretch out, so that we are able to release the blocked energy. So I think it's one of the things which I've really, really appreciated, being able to work with you on Pilates or even just the body work, where I can come here not knowing how tired I am until you do some body work and the energy drops like, oh my goodness, I didn't know. But that is what we are really being called, to take care of our body, to nourish it so that we are able to meet the moments that we are in.
Oh, yes, all of that. I'm thinking so many things. The first thing that jumps out is just this question of rest, and how do we find rest when it feels like there's so much that has to be done and it feels so urgent, and people may be asking a lot of us, especially now. There's a lot of need. What do you do to find rest? And I know it's an ongoing struggle for all of us. So.
Exactly. It's definitely an ongoing struggle. And yet also, I mean, like, it's so counterintuitive because the rest is what we need. It's really the rest that we need. But with so much going on, sometimes that's what comes last, on the list. Whereas prioritizing it will give us everything. So I always, so for me, how am I finding it? Sometimes my body will reach the point, like, okay, where I cannot do, but I have to really rest. I would say, like today, this morning, I really had a good night's sleep. Because I was up as usual, you know me, in the wee hours of the night. But I tried to do the work that I was trying to do. I just couldn't move forward because my body had reached its capacity. Yeah.
Right.
But I also come back. I'm just sort of like, because of the modern time, but I always come back, how do we go back to the rhythm of nature? Yeah. With birds, when the sun goes down, there is a natural thing that happens to the natural world, the rest.
Right.
Yeah. I experienced that. I think I must have mentioned to you visiting back home in the Congo. Yeah. Where with no electricity, something happened where I became in that rhythm. Yeah. And being in that rhythm, it slows everything down and it provides us with clarity. Yeah.
Right.
So in the times that we are, rest becomes so important because we need to be as clear,
Right.
as things are collapsing. How do we make sure that we are clear so that we are making decisions that steers us away from collapse? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The thing that I was thinking about as you were talking about being at home, back home in Congo, and in the rhythms, the natural rhythm, more in the natural rhythms, is that those natural rhythms also nourish us.
Yes.
And so if we can align with the sun going down and really starting to slow down, prepare for rest, then we're just sort of getting the energy of that whole cycle, which makes it's kind of like a double boost. You get your sleep and then you get the support of being in the cycle.
Absolutely. No, I love, yes, it's the boost and the support. And I've also experienced it here with you in doing some of the energy works. Come here, my body is completely tired, do an energy work for the time, and it feels as if I've regained 8 hours of sleep. I think there are times where I would just go like, oh, I feel awake. I feel awake, yeah. But how do we go back into that rhythm? Sometimes the body works come back to remind us and say, this is the natural rhythm of rest.
Right.
Because the nervous system is completely rested, and within that rest, we are able to tap more. We are able to listen to the wisdom that is in us.
Yes.
Yeah. So how do we go through? And how do we help each other, especially in these moments? We have been conditioned, where it's run, do. Yeah. So how do we have the grace to help one another continue to remember those natural rhythms? Yeah. So that's like what the work you do. I think I've told you this, and I will just mention it. It's timely, and I keep saying that self-care. We cannot underestimate. It's our our lifeline at this point.
Yeah. I'm remembering a story that you told me about your mother, and how she would find answers to questions in rest.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, could you tell a little bit about her and the women in your village and how they operated?
Absolutely, I would be more than happy. I think every time I think, I'm just like, okay. As a child, I always thought like, oh, my mom sleeps a lot. She would take naps, and yet also, I knew that she was part of the circle of the people in my village of women who always got questions, from the community. So we always have people come in that will seek her advice, and sometimes we just tell them like, okay, give me time, I'll get back to you. And literally when she said, give me time, what they did, and the woman, they would take, it was constant sleep and resting. And it was through the rest that they were able to tap into what needed to come. And some of that knowledge could be the wisdom coming from plants, speaking to them, through dreams. Like, this is the plant you need to go, and pick up. I know I have my siblings here, and one of the things that we keep saying, like, okay, one of our regrets is like, we should have asked our mother, to tell us the wisdom, because yes, even with the rest, she was able to connect. And sometimes it might have taken days before the answer came, but they would just wait until it showed up,
Right.
and then they'll come back and provide the advice. But sleeping and taking naps were very important to them. And all the women would just see, like, they'll just sit there, and then they'll go, they'll nap. And there were times where, like, with the little small mats outside under the trees, it's like, okay, she sleeps a lot, you know. Yeah, but that's
it's such I feel like it's just I think about that story often, and I try to just use it as something to aspire to, that the importance of sleep and rest, and what comes through that when you do. It makes me think of a retreat I did with a self-care group of Black women, where we went to Santa Fe, and we spent time with horses. And there was a way that the lead mare of the herd was prioritizing rest, resourcing herself so that she could care for the herd in the most resourced and best way.
Exactly.
So there is just so much to learn.
Exactly.
From our ancient technologies and from our animal brothers and sisters.
Exactly. Yeah. Especially animals. I mean, like, or even the natural world. Yeah.
Yes.
They have a lot to teach us. Even in the story you just told, for the horses, the mare to know, like, okay, I need to be more resourced.
Right.
So I need to tap into the technology of rest.
Yes.
Yeah. So that when need be, at the most, when I need it the most, I will have all the energy to channel to that and to be able to move. Yeah. So what can we continue to learn? I mean, all of us, I mean, like, okay, to know that, yes, we have that. How do we support one another to continue to rest? Because I know that we are living in the world with so much pressure. Yeah. Sometimes that becomes the very same thing. We overlook, sometimes we know, we think about it, but the pressure makes us cut that short. But how do we help each other? Just remember that that is really our lifeline, our health, well-being. Everything depends on that.
I feel like we are so we're so conditioned to see I'll speak for myself, but to see my value as a human being in what I do, and not just in being. And so there's so much conditioning that it's peeling back the layers of that to be able to really, really believe that the rest is important, that I need it, that I deserve it, all of those things.
Absolutely.
And I think that is not uncommon for
Absolutely.
women.
Absolutely.
Especially.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's the very same thing as you said. It's something we deserve, the rest. We literally deserve that rest. Yeah. And yes, I mean, like, okay, peeling out all the conditioning, letting go, and just kind of the state of who we are is the being. It is in being where we can move so much. It's in being where we can move so much. How do we let go of the doing? Just like, okay, in the doing, sometimes we struggle. Because we are moving against. But how do we do less so that we can do more? Just by being.
Yeah, and I what was coming to me as you were talking is thinking about, I think sometimes because we are so in hyper drive in our culture, that rest means sleep or doing nothing. And what I'm thinking about, and I don't know if this will make sense, is rest really being about being in alignment with natural rhythms, So there's a kind of rest that may be movement. There's rest that may be being with loved ones. There's rest that is sleeping. And so knowing what the body needs, that it's not just all do or all rest. That we need these movements. We need things, in my opinion, like Pilates, like walking, like being in nature, to help rest our bodies.
Absolutely. Yes, yeah. I think it's also I think I love what you just said. It's being able to define or even kind of identify different ways of being restful. Yeah. In nature, doing Pilates, because I think, I mean, as you said, one of the things which I've really appreciated in what you bring, to this world, from the beginning, to me, you have always been the one who listens and follow, and you are paving a pathway literally to coming back home for all of us. Yeah. What does it mean to come back home in this body? Right. What does it mean to be able to remember the different ways of rest? Yeah. Right. And some of those, because we have been conditioned and we do, our body, we carry so much, which needs to be released. Yeah? Right. Some of that may need to be released by Pilates, the stretches that we do. Right. All of that, I mean, it's moving the energy. Right. And when we move out all the energy, the blocks, and release, some of that could also be just walking. Right. You see me that, walking in nature, sitting by the water, listening to the sound of the birds. Yeah. I think everything that we are doing is how do we align with who we are? How do we take care of our nervous system? Right. Yeah. One of the things, which I really enjoy when I'm here, two things, when I'm doing Pilates, and then also I'm going to talk about the energy work. Doing Pilates, you do, I'm stretching, I'm working with you, I can feel the different muscles, different parts really stretching. But there's something about being on the reformer, laying down, feeling supported, where you can just drop in completely, even as I'm pushing, It's just the push. It kind of reminds me when you look in the morning, if you look at our four-legged cousins, sisters, cats, what are things which they do when they get up is to stretch, to release. Even babies, it's kind of like you are releasing. So how do we take all of this ancient and yet new technology that is available to us,
It's, I thinking about the reformer and that idea of being supported in movement, I think is a really important reminder that we're always supported. We're supported by the earth that we're walking on. If we're laying and doing stretching or Pilates on a mat, we're supported by the floor. And that just sort of a remembering and a sort of felt sense of that connection is a really wonderful reminder of the rhythms that we're talking about, and of the fact that we're not alone. We're supported, and we have access to a kind of abundant energy through our feet and through our connection to the earth. So I feel like that there's all of these ways that we can have little gentle reminders of those natural rhythms that we are with. We are with the trees and the plants and the animals and the earth, and they are our company. And that we're not alone in all of this.
Yeah, and especially like we are not alone. And I love, they're gentle reminders. And the gentle reminders and my appreciation, it's really for people like yourself, healers, people who have taken against everything, kind of like, no, this is the path forward for our humanity. We need those gentle reminders to help us remember. of those connections, what we have access to. Yeah. And it takes quite a bit to be in tune, to really feel like, now I feel it. Yeah. Just like with working with you, it took me quite a bit to really, I mean, like I knew everything we're doing is kind of like core. Mm-hmm. It took me like one day when I felt the core, I was like, but yeah, you feel it kind of like, okay, this, but it took a while because kind of like was a lot of undoing the conditioning, a lot of the getting out of the trip that is far from here to the body. We have been conditioned as a humanity. No matter where we are in the world, I know some are still connected, but most all of us as a humanity, the conditioning, has pushed us so far up here. And what we really need, is this gut here, the core, alignment.
There's so many thoughts, because I mean, the way that I think about that, when you recognize, I found these muscles, that it's really a remembering, like your body knows those muscles, it knows how to use those muscles. It's reconnecting to the brilliance and intelligence and genius of our bodies, and letting that come through. And I agree, there's a lot of peeling back of unhelpful patterns that we need to do to be able to remember.
Exactly.
But everything we need is in our bodies, and our bodies are our home, as you were saying, that we should tend with loving care, the way we would tend our children, we would tend our homes, people in our community.
Absolutely. Now I'm just really honored, and what I want to encourage you is just kind of like, okay, to thank you for the work that you do, and to encourage you, for anyone who haven't had an opportunity to experience you, to come and experience the work.
Thank you, Chingwell.
No, absolutely. Whether it be at just something like, whether it be at Pilates or even energy work, which is so amazing, kind of like, because you had an opportunity to do some energy work on my two sisters who are from the Congo, don't speak the language, but they could feel it. And one of the things which so they've already given you a name,
Oh my goodness.
So the name, when we say back home, Mukaleng, Chris, like Mukaleng, it means kind of like, the healer.
Oh my, I'm honored. Oh,
so
my
they
God.
ask like, have you been seeing Mukaleng? So I see Chris every week, but I'm just saying like, it's
tears to my eyes. Oh my God, thank you.
No, but it's a testament to say that the work you do transcends time, space, culture, everything, because all of us have that internal compass on us. When you touched on the body and they could feel the energy moving, they dropped whatever. That needed to be dropped. They knew, we have met a healer, and they knew the word of it in my language, Lunda, Mukaleng.
Mukaleng. I am deeply honored.
Exactly. So I hope many can experience what you bring to this world. And again, I said, self-care, if anything in this moment, this is what we need to survive. This is our lifeline.
I feel like what you're also saying, and maybe we'll kind of wrap up with that, is that we're also all connected energetically. And this is something that I've been learning in my trainings, that we are all connected energetically. So those gentle reminders of our connection to the natural world and to the earth, but we're also all connected, and have everything we need to align, to feel at home in our bodies. We just have to find it.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Chingwell.